Is Michael coming just to the house? No, it's just us, it's fine. You can put one there. Well, no, you're, I'm good. I don't care. Just give that to him.
Oh, you like those pens too? Those are good.
Yes, Methodist classic.
I've got another phone in her. I was too Is it under your iPad screen? What share? Come here. I'll be certified on chair. What's the name of that? She teaches she's been fire chief, fire
He was that was they were all that was before mom and dad brother, his daughter.
This is why he did this together.
That's
exactly why he did this together.
So is that what you need?
Yeah. Well, you know, the good thing about the Methodist church.
Yes. We're gonna put you down there and make her their best friends.
That's kind of my.
And I know some people don't have to work, but I do. No, I can't get her. Tell me what's up with that.
The next generation that was us.
Well, she already memorized it. She's got it. You guys are changing the where's Bethlehem? Did she have to work? I mean, it'd be nice if somebody could better. God, let's wait till the second week. Wait it out, Tim. Good God, then we about a quorum. Guess you're not going in tonight. See you later. Burning all the board members off. Good job.
Will everyone please stand, please? I'll call the Erwin Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting in session Monday, July the 10th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. EMS Director Adam Copeland will lead us in our prayer, and Officer Patrick Bennett will lead us in our pledge to the flag. Mr. Copeland.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you today. Thank you for the day that you allowed us to live. Thank you for the many blessings of life, Lord. So we thank you for the community that we live in, and the town that we're in, and the citizens that are here, Lord. And we pray that you bless our leadership for them to make good decisions, and you bless everyone that we come in contact with, Lord, and lead us on to your better glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Mr. Bennett.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Mr. Bailey, would you call the roll, please?
Andrew Cox.
Here.
Michael Baker. Paul Edwards.
Here.
Vicky Heffer. Okay.
Here.
Mayor what?
Great job, Maxine. BMA members, in the package, previous meetings, from June 26th, it was our regular meeting. The notes are in your package. Are there any comments that you would like to make on the notes from the previous meeting?
No.
Then do I have a motion for approval?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on. Citizens, this is the time that we open the audience up to come and speak to the BMA concerning any issue that you might have. So it is a 3-minute presentation. Is there anyone here that would like to come and speak to the BMA? Come forward, please. State your name and your purpose. Anyone here? Come forward, sir.
My name's Roger Mullins,
Yes, sir.
and the reason I'm here, I don't live in Erwin, I live in Johnson City, but my wife and I, we spend at least one day a week in Erwin because I take a lot of wildlife photos, particularly out in Fishery Park. And I'll tell you something, my heart's been broken over and over and over again. And there's, I don't know what kind of individual would do this kind of thing, but the last duck I found, the last white duck, was beaten to death and stabbed with a stick, and the stick was left laying on the side of it. It's an animal predator. Sometimes I've seen animals, kill ducks and you'll find a bunch of feathers. That's about all you'll find most of the it's a person that's done it. And, a while back, probably, I don't know, a year and a half ago, there was one white duckman with a gunshot wound. It probably was shot on the shore, but it made it down into a ravine there. And, somebody fired a gun in a city park, a residential area. You know, that is put in mind. But anyway, park, probably the main attraction of the park for ducks. You know, of course, you have a swimming pool in the summer, and you have people fishing there year round, and people walking for dollars and so forth. But those waterfowl, it's amazing people that come out there, feed them. Sometimes they feed them the wrong thing, but they go out there to feed them, or just sit in the car and watch them sometimes. And people's told me stories of things they've seen take place there. Why they don't intervene and call 911, I don't know. But I've called the police twice. One time one was shot, and one the other day they've been stabbed and beaten. And they've always been really nice about it. Matter of fact, the lady said the other day, she said, anybody that would do this to an animal, you know, would probably also hurt a human being. But anyway, it's just, I've seen so much. I've seen so much. If I see somebody doing something, I very politely, you know, I do it in a polite way. I guess the good thing is I don't punch you out or anything, but I will call them down like somebody's kids are throwing rocks at them or something. You know, I was polite to, you know, please don't throw that rock. And parents, you know, seem to get upset at all. But you know, it's just, I saw some full-grown adults one day trying to get them out of rocks. I didn't say anything, but I had my camera, I was sort of lifting my camera and blocked out to get it off. I guess they didn't want the picture. But, you know, about everybody I talk with out there, just the nicest people in the world. There are a few bad people. Anyway, I thought security cameras would be a great idea, not just for the animals, but eventually somebody's going to get hurt. Just these kind of people are going. I don't know when they're going out there. I don't know if it's at night or when, but anyway, and signs also. Kathy here has how many signs you got already?
A lady called me and said she's willing to give me a check for 2 of them and 3.
3 signs so far that really nice signs. Got a picture of that on it. There's some up at Monte Vista Cemetery in Johnson City is where I saw it. But anyway, advising people what to feed and what not to feed the ducks.
Mr. Mullins, according to the city policy, your time is up.
Okay.
But I will tell you this, we're not going to put up with anyone going out there harming the animals or anything of that nature. It's been brought to our attention. We are going to develop a policy. We're going to work with City Court Bailey and with Mr. Blankenship. We'll develop a policy to bring to the BMA. We don't know exactly what that policy is going to be, but it's going to be a policy that will stop that type of activity. I promise you that. Okay?
I appreciate it.
Thank
It means a lot to me.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak? Please come forward, state your name, your address, and your business.
Hi there, I'm Cecilia Johnson. I moved to Erwin about 2 years ago. I live over on 9th Street. And I just wanted to say that I also support some sort of surveillance camera system over there. Not just for the birds, of course that's important, but you know, there's been a lot of research that shows that animal cruelty leads to other violent crime. Within the last 6 months, I remember my neighbor on 9th Street telling me that they got a BB gun. They shot BB guns in the middle of the night at their house and knocked out a window. And I don't know whatever came of that, but I think it's the same sort of mentality that, you know, not, obviously, they're not getting money, they're not stealing, but they're just taking out anger, you know, just mean people. And so, you know, I don't want that to translate to people hurting other people. So I just want to support that as well. I haven't looked at the cost or anything like that, but I think that would be a good use of money, good use of funds.
Well, thank you for your time, and I will restate, I know I speak to the board, that we're going to make sure that our park is safe. We're going to ask So we thank you both for bringing it to our attention. We'll have to look into it and have a policy in way. Anyone else that would like to come and speak to the BMA at this time? Again, I want to thank you both for coming and speaking on the issue, and we'll definitely get it. With that being said, I'll close this session of the meeting. Thank you. Moving on, report from members of this board or other officers, and any reports that would like to be made. Richard Blankenship, I think you want to report on some issues.
Alderwomen and Mayor, you all have a copy of our mid-year report from the building and code side of things. I put 2021 data as well as 2022 data with where we are now. In 2021, we had a total of 96 permits for a total value of right at 2.5 million, generation of revenue of 14,000 and 2 new homes. Last year, we had 132 permits of nearly $8.7 million in value, 42,600 in revenue, and 22 new homes. So far this year through July, we have had 58 permits pulled at a value of 1.3 million, 9,397 revenue generated with 2 new homes. So that's kind of putting us back on track before the Fishery Village Erwin loop boom that we had. After talking to Orth Construction today and Whitney Riddle with Kelly, they're not going to be pulling any more permits until some of those properties are sold. So that's when we will see the blanket of the 16 come. We also have, right now, 3 new homes in the rezoning phase. So as soon as they're heard by the Planning Commission, pass the second reading of BMA and things of that nature, we'll have 3 to add our total of 2. Now you come to the property maintenance side of things. So far this year, we've had 50 reported property maintenance code violations. 16 are still currently in progress, where the town is working with the homeowners, property owners to alleviate that. 7 of those issues have been taken care of by Mr. Bailey, Mr. Forbes, Public Works Department. Those guys have done a phenomenal job getting out there and getting that stuff in. And that's really all I've got. Alderman, you all have the rest of it for your personal information, but just kind of a mid-year snapshot of where we are.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I think Mr. Bailey had some updates that he'd like to share with the BMA.
Sure. We'll start with the STP program, it's coming up with the paving on Elm Street and East Erwin. Summers and Taylor have contacted us wanting to start early with the paving on Elm Street instead of doing it after the Apple Festival. We're looking to see if our contract will allow that. We don't know if we can stop and start the contract, it will. Looking at that, if that be the case, they will go ahead and get the paving done on both streets and do the concrete work after the Apple Festival when the concrete crew catches up. Playground, if you haven't been out, and I speak for everyone here, if you haven't been out to look at the playground yet, please make a trip out there to Fisher Park, look at that. You'll see how far we went with the money that we've spent so far. The installers are out there. They've been out here in this heat digging holes in there, and they got down about 2 foot, 18 inches, 2 foot, and hit rock, and they had to dig with bars from there. They even broke 2 or 3 pieces of machinery out there on that. They are in hopes of being finished by the 18th of this month, which is next Tuesday. I talked to Jody Cox, who has the concrete contract for that. He is hoping to get his crew started on the 19th after that. And as soon as he gets finished, the turf will come in, then our asphalt will finish up the project there. Winter Trail Bridge, there has been no movement on that right now. We saw what the estimated cost was going to be. We're still trying to work through that, look at some other options. I think I've got a couple of more options that we'll be looking through in the future, soon in the future, that is. Paving, there was about 80,000 left over from our $1 million loan that we took out 2 years ago. And I identified a few other places that were giving us some issues. Sonast is one of them, Iona, and we have a big puddle that comes up at the end of Catal Street that we will try to fix with all that. That's where that money will come through. And I think we're looking at 2025, looking at maybe starting another round of that paving. Phase 2 of that. So that's where we're standing on the public works side of stuff.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Appreciate that report. Moving on from communication from the mayor, I do have some issues that I'd like to address the BMA and to the citizens. I'd like to give an update to this board concerning the city recorder's position. On June 27th, Mr. Mark Muller resigned his position as our city recorder. The next day, on June the 28th, I appointed our city public works director, Mr. Tim Bailey, as our interim city recorder. Later on tonight, in tonight's meeting, I will ask this board to approve Mr. Bailey as our full-time city recorder. Also, I'd like to mention concerning last Sunday, as we all know, the terrible tragedy that happened when the tractor and trailer ran off the interstate and crashed into a home in the Fisher community. I would like to recognize our personnel that responded: Chief Tilson and our police department, Chief Harris and our fire department, EMS Director Adam Kopus and our ambulance service, Sheriff Mike Hensley and Unicoi County Sheriff's Department, Southside Fire Department, Unicoi County Fire Department, Limestone Cove Fire Department, Yaneka Mountain Fire and Rescue, Tennessee Highway Patrol, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and our Emergency Management Director, Mr. Jimmy Erwin. In closing, I know I speak for the BMA and our citizenry that we continue to pray for the families and the victims of this terrible tragedy. And we are thankful that here in our city and our county, that we have individuals that put forth the utmost professionalism and care for the people that they serve. So I wanted to make that mention of that issue, the terrible tragedy that happened last week. Moving on, in our presentation, we have Ms. Kathy Alford concerning the Fisher Park safety concerns. Ms. Alford, would you like to speak? Okay, that's fine.
I'm not a speaker, but I've got my friends.
Well, that's fine.
My voice, but I
We-
appreciate the time so much.
Well, we thank you for coming and bringing this to our attention. We will take care of it. We will take care of this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appointments. Number 7.1. Consider approval of professional services agreement for attorney Tom Seeley and the Seeley Law Firm. I would like to make this recommendation. Mr. Seeley has been our city attorney for many years. He does an excellent job, and we're fortunate to have him. And so I'll bring this up for the BMA or any discussion on this issue. And do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second? Mr. Bailey, would you call the roll, please?
Angie Vaughn,
Yes.
Michael Baker, Paula Edwards,
Yes.
Vicky Hatcher, Kathy Huskins,
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes. Thank you for that. Moving on to consider the approval of our city recorder. Words can't express enough appreciation that I have for Mr. Bailey and the job that he has done as our public service, as our public works director. Many times that I've recognized him for the work that he and his department has done. He has proven his loyalty and his dedication to our city. And I've asked him when the position became vacant, I asked him would he consider taking the internship, which he did. And may I say that he's done a remarkable job. He is a leader. He has leadership capabilities. He's already proved himself as our public works director, and there's no doubt in my mind that Mr. Bailey will go down as one of our very finest city recorders in the likes of Mr. Joe Frazier and Doris Hensley and Paul Wilcox and so forth. So my recommendation to this board is to have Mr. Tim Bailey as our permanent city recorder. I'll bring this up now for discussion from this board. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? And I will call the roll. Ms. Wilcox?
Yes.
Ms. Huskins?
Yes.
Ms. Edwards?
Yes.
And I will vote yes also. So congratulations, Mr. Bailey.
Congratulations, Tim.
Congratulations. Yes, sir, you may.
On behalf of my family and, of course, personally, we thank you for the opportunity in 2019, I talked to Mr. Rosenoff. There was an opening at Public Works, and he said, I looked at him, I said, do I have a chance? He said, Mr. Bailey, you're one of the top ones I had in mind. I can't believe you just talked to me. He said, I have a problem at Public Works. Can you come and fix it? He described the problem, and I said, yes, sir, I think I can do that. And I think, Mr. Forbes, we've come a long way since 2010. Yes, sir. 2 weeks ago, I feel like I had that same call when Glenn called and said, Tim, we have a problem. Do you think we can fix it? Absolutely, sir. We'll be there, we'll fix it. So I'm here to fix that, and it is my goal to retire with the town of Erwin. I've got a few more years left in front of me, so that is my goal, is to finish my career here with the town of Erwin, whether it be as a recorder or doing something else wherever I'm needed. So I'm not leaving Public Works in a bad position. I'm leaving it in great hands with Mr. Forbes and Mr. Marlon Hensley. So we built that department up in the past 4 years to where I can walk away from it knowing that it's in good hands and it will be taken care of from here on out. So thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. We know that you'll do us a good job, and there's no doubt in my mind as mayor, and I'll speak for BMA, that you'll be very successful in this new position that you have. Mr. Bailey runs the city. He runs it, and it's a tremendous responsibility. But also, he ran the city when there were floods, drains clogged up, and all things that went wrong with the infrastructure. He was there to fix it and did a great job there. And I'm very sure that you will retire.
I'd be really remiss to not mention that when you get me, you get my family. You know, they all came tonight.
Right.
So.
Well, that's what it's about, family. So thank you for answering the call that I called last week. Thank you very much. Thank you for your friendship, and I'm very pleased to have him as our city recorder. Moving on with information, the Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting will be July the 24th at 2023 at 5:30 p.m. Mr. Bailey, is this when we will vote on the budget?
Yes, the budget will. Okay. Just a little update on the budget. Okay. Switching my hats back to city recorder off of Public Works for a minute. The budget will be up for second reading as it was read May 22nd. So it is back in order for that, and we'll be ready to go with that with a few other ordinances to be ready on second reading.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey. Board members, anything else you would like to bring to our attention? Okay, if that's not, then I need a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you so much for coming.
We're proud of Brian.
We
We're proud of Brian.
We're glad.
I told her I wouldn't take the meeting, but I was telling her.
The reason why is because usually